Welcome to Historical Highway, where we uncover the most intriguing stories from the past. Today, we're diving into a chilling discovery that has shed new light on our ancient fear of vampires and the undead. Recently in Ireland, a series of grotesquely violated skeletons were unearthed. These remains have sparked renewed interest in the myths and legends that have haunted humanity for centuries. The skeletons were buried in a violent and aggressive manner, suggesting a deep-seated fear of the dead rising again. Archaeologists are now delving into why these bodies were subjected to such brutality. Could it be that the horrors haunting us for centuries are rooted in these ancient fears? The answer may lie in medieval texts and modern forensic technology. Imagine a young man, Miller, 25 years old, showing signs of what we might call vampirism today. Back then, the fear of vampires and revenants, people returning from the dead to haunt the living, was intense. Corpses were believed to escape their graves and corrupt the living, wandering aimlessly and spreading terror. The discovery of these Irish skeletons offers us a glimpse into this ancient terror. To explain these shocking burials, archaeologists must unlock clues from mysterious medieval texts and use modern forensic technology. This story even takes us to a 21st century case in Romania. The mountains and lakes of Western Ireland have long been shrouded in mystery, believed to be haunted by fairies and magic. In 2004, archaeologists began excavating a little-known area called Kilteashin, searching for a medieval bishop's palace dating back to the 12th century. Chris Reed, one of the project directors, recalls their initial expectations. "We hoped to find the bishop's palace, but we couldn't have been more wrong. Instead, they discovered a burial site that opened a window onto our darkest fears. Beneath the flagstones of a ruined building near the lost palace, they found faces staring back at them, faces crushed flat by the floor. Whoever built this structure knew they were constructing it atop human remains. In a small area, about 3 meters by 3 meters, they unearthed 30 to 40 skeletons, stacked one on top of another in shallow graves. This was just the beginning. The team made more cuttings into a raised burial platform in the field, each filled with bodies. Based on their findings, they estimate a total burial population of between 2,500 and 3,000 people, making it a substantial cemetery. One morning, Chris was called to see a new skeleton emerging from the earth. This particular skeleton was treated violently, its legs twisted and bent back around a large boulder placed deliberately in the grave to deform the body. Professor Mark Horton, an experienced excavator of medieval burials, was astonished by the find. "I've never seen anything so extraordinary," he said. The boulder, it seems, was placed to prevent the body from ever rising again. The skeleton's spinal column was twisted around, its body bound in such a way that it couldn't come back to life. As they dug deeper, more remarkable finds emerged, including a skeleton with a large stone forced into its mouth. A dramatic and unsettling image. But why were these bodies treated with such violence? The archaeologists removed the skeletons, along with more than 100 other burials, and took them back to the lab for further analysis. As the skeletons were cleaned, they revealed shocking evidence about the deaths of those buried there. "Do you think these look like cut marks?" Chris asked. "Definitely. That's a big chop mark," came the reply. The marks suggested that some of the Kilteashin bodies were killed by bladed weapons, like swords or spears. In medieval Ireland, with its constant warfare and competing kingships, the fear of aggression was ever present. Yet even in this violent age, the mutilation of these bodies was extraordinary. Were those who buried them afraid of what they might become? This fear of the undead wasn't limited to Ireland. Similar burials have been found across Western Europe, from the Czech Republic to England, where skeletons were weighed down with boulders or pierced with nails to prevent them from rising. In medieval times, people believed that certain individuals could become a threat even after death. The term deviant burials is used to describe these unusual interments. Anything abnormal or uncharacteristic of a typical Christian burial is considered deviant. The Christian faith had a well-established canon of beliefs, including the idea that everyone would rise from their graves at the end of the world, to face the rising sun. Deviant burials, therefore, suggest deliberate thought processes to prevent the dead from returning. Today, vampires are often seen as entertainment, but in the 12th century, they were terrifyingly real. The medieval mind was filled with monsters and supernatural events, and the idea of bodies being reanimated wasn't far-fetched. The church fostered these beliefs, teaching that evil souls went to purgatory, where they were tortured. The notion that these souls could escape and haunt the living was a powerful one. Chronicles from the period recorded terrifying stories about the undead as if they were true. Historian John Blair recounts an account from St. Peter's Church in Stappenhill, near Burton-on-Trent. In 1085, 2 peasants died suddenly while eating. They were buried, but soon seen walking around, sometimes as men with coffins on their backs, and sometimes as animals. This must have been enormously frightening to the villagers, who believed they were confronting the living dead. Revenants, as these undead were called, were believed to have terrifying powers. They could make animals and people fall sick, and even die. These beliefs were so strong that some people left detailed instructions on how to avoid becoming revenants themselves. One such story comes from Berkeley in Gloucestershire, where a witch feared reanimation so much that she instructed her body to be sewn in a stag skin, placed in a stone sarcophagus, and wrapped with chains. Despite these precautions, the devil supposedly took her away to haunt the place forever. These stories, recorded by priests and chroniclers, show that the fear of the undead was widespread in the 12th century. The deviant burials in Kiltasheen could date back to this period, linking them to these extraordinary tales. To confirm this, the Irish team plans to carbon date the skeletons. As we wait for the results, we turn our attention to modern Romania, where the fear of the undead still lingers. In 2004, 5 men exhumed a corpse in a village cemetery, believing it had become a strigoi, a Romanian term for the undead. The men removed the heart of the corpse and burned it to prevent the strigoi from haunting the living. This modern ritual mirrors the ancient fear that drove people to such extremes. Whether in medieval Ireland or 21st century Romania, the fear of the undead persists. It's a deep-seated terror that transcends time and place. For centuries, these beliefs have been passed down through literature and folklore. From the 18th century vampire panics in Serbia to Bram Stoker's Dracula, the myth of the vampire has evolved. Today, it's a staple of horror fiction, but its roots are far older and more profound. As we conclude our journey, remember to like this video and subscribe to Historical Highway for more fascinating insights into our past. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for our next episode.